So what is comfortable looks like, you know what? I came home and I am just binging, I'm scrolling, I'm TikToking, because we talked about TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for an endless amount, or playing video games, whatever that is.
Simanto Khandaker is an executive coach, corporate facilitator, and the founder of Balanced at Last. He's a leading voice in the movement to integrate mental well-being with high-stakes career advancement. Sim's methodology is unique in the coaching industry. He combines the data-driven strategy of a Six Sigma with the deep
That's
psychological insight of a master's level clinician. Having supported over 3,000 individuals and collaborated with Global 500 companies, SimSet specializes in helping mid-career professionals navigate professional trauma, including burnout, layoffs, and toxic work cultures. He maintains a 97% success rate in helping clients achieve their goals by teaching them to manage their energy, not just their time. Born in Bangladesh and raised in the US, Sim's perspective is shaped by the immigrant experience and a deep commitment to resilience. He's dedicated to helping leaders realize that if they want to go fast, they can go alone. But if they want to go far, they must go together. Hi, Sim. Thank you so
yes.
much for being here on the show. So excited to have
I
you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, Samantha. How are
Mm-hmm.
you?
I'm doing really, really well. So I have a full day and you're my first one. So top
Oh my
energy for
gosh.
you.
Love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing today?
Absolutely. So my family, we immigrated to the US in the 90s, mid 90s, and that was that was a very interesting experience for us. My dad, he held multiple jobs. My mom had multiple jobs, and it was me, my sister, and my brother
Mm-hmm.
growing up as
Mm-hmm.
kids. As going from there, I was really struggling to figure out what I wanted to do in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Largely because my family, I think many of the South Asian families can probably relate. Listeners probably can relate. Is either you're a doctor, you're an engineer, or you're into like one of those business owner. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three professions that you get
Or
to choose.
lawyer. That's another
Or
one.
lawyer
Yeah.
sometimes, yes. So I had a similar story to that. I was in the engineering track, but I
Mm-hmm.
did not. I loved math, but I didn't love it as much as people, and really understanding how people work and how we grow up in society and support each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to battle my way into um, doing psychology,
Mm.
right, for
Uh-huh.
undergrad, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I graduated right around the Great Recession of
Uh-huh.
'07.
Uh-huh.
So that's I graduated, there's no job, but thankfully my math background helped me get a position as a financial analyst for a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
Again, trying to figure this out, right? We can't control the environment outside of us. Us, we can only adapt and see where that leads.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to now, I love integrating the professional development side along with the psychological side of
Mm-hmm.
helping an individual really figure out how to navigate through this complex world
Uh-huh.
and find a way of finding meaning and, as my business outlines it, find balanced at last. So
Uh-huh.
that is my, I guess, North Star
Mm-hmm.
of helping people find that balance they're looking for in life.
Mm-hmm. So one of my questions for you
Mhm.
would be like coming from an immigrant background and having your parents working so many jobs, right? As we all know, like a lot of
Yes.
the when immigrants first come to the country, they're working just like any job that they possibly can, right? And
Mhm,
so the question that I had for you that came to my mind was there any part of you that felt or feels guilty about like the first world problems that we have, like helping people with burnout, right? And so like the
yeah.
assumption being that you're working a killer job and like you should just be grateful that you even have a job,
Mm,
versus like in like a first world problem, what would be like, oh,
mhm.
you're like you know what I mean trying to say?
I do
Mhm.
understand that, and I
Mhm.
joke around with it, here and there,
Mhm.
but honestly, the problem that is self-defined,
Mhm.
right? And in that comparison, we lose the struggle that everyone
Mhm.
has and is going through.
Mhm.
So for me, when I am working with clients, with organizations, my goal isn't for the individual to compare this versus that.
Mhm.
It is to say, here, what I was previously and what I want to go in the future, and finding that transition.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a really
Yeah.
good way to think about it as well. Like I do coaching as well, and so one of the
Mhm.
things that you have to learn very early on is that just because other people have problems that might seem bigger than yours doesn't mean that
Mhm.
your problems or your concerns or your struggles aren't valid as well, you know?
Correct.
Yeah. And so,
Correct.
yeah, I
And,
think
and
sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I think that sometimes people, they try to downplay their problems as not being quite so serious, and then the issues
Mhm.
never get addressed, right? Because you're like, "Well, other people have
Yes.
it harder than me."
Yes. It's true. It's true. And there's the comparison really hurts the person who's
Mhm.
comparing, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if it's better or worse than you, right? It's just that having that mindset uh, can justify not getting the support you need to live a
Mhm.
better life,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And I think over the past 15 years of coaching, um, the goal has been to you having a better life means people around you will also start having a better life,
Mhm. That's
right?
true actually because your energy and the circle that you work within or that your
Hmm.
family or whatever, like you have an impact on those people, right? And
You
so
absolutely do.
so by you like leveling up yourself, it's like a high tide lifts all boats kind of things, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly, exactly. So that's why like one of my I think at the end of my bio you read like if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want
Mhm.
to go far, go together. It is really about unity and having that community
Mhm.
of support that really gets us further than where we thought was possible.
Mhm. Mhm. So, as you were going through your university experience and like making this
Mhm.
transition from like maths into psychology, like did you have a lot of struggle with that, like from a personal perspective, or what
Oh,
was that?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
much struggle.
Yeah. Mm.
Right. It wasn't until I started seeking my own counseling, own therapy, own coaching that I
Mhm.
started to really level up.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
For me, the challenge of carrying my um, the stigma from seeking mental health services, seeking
Mhm.
support, right? Especially as a man, there's additional unspoken um, how do I say this? Unspoken uh, responsibilities,
Mhm.
right? Of you got to take care of the family, you have to do things that you don't want to do, all these things that
Mhm.
just added up, at least internally for me, where I found it difficult to advocate that I wanted to go into psychology until almost like 2 years into my education,
Mhm.
where I knew I loved it. I didn't math. I was lucky to have a appreciation for math, so math came easy to me.
Mhm.
But people and psychology was the hardest thing I ever had to learn,
Mhm.
right? And that really drove me into um, figuring out the social norms,
Mhm.
asking for support, and not knowing what support looked like because that at that time I didn't even know about counseling centers, career coaches, right? It was very new at that
Mhm.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. So how exactly did you discover coaching then? Like what was your process to discovering coaching? Like rather than going like
Great question.
getting your PhD and becoming a psychologist and opening a practice, you know? Like so what was that
Right.
road like?
It's a heartbreaking road for me.
Mhm.
Heartbreaking road because um, after after my bachelor's, I went and did my master's, but in between there was a gap where I really wanted to do. Became a financial analyst, moved to Australia to do like
Oh,
neuropsych research. Yes. Oh my
that's very
gosh.
cool.
It was really cool. It really helped me nerd out
Mhm.
about how the brain works and why we, and our research was on threat detection, how, why we detect threat.
Mhm.
Fascinating topic.
Mhm.
Then I returned to do my master's in marriage and family counseling, along with mental health counseling. So that experience in itself just opened me up to the helping world at a whole
Mhm.
different level. The community support, the the progression of where counseling was heading, right? This was very new to me.
Mhm.
So within that experience, I was a I was counseling a person who had prolonged grief.
Mhm.
They were carrying with them the story of their child who passed away almost 30 years ago,
Mhm.
right? And I at that time, 30 years ago, they were in professional as a VP and going towards the C-suite. And when I spoke with them, they they were near how do I say it? Poverty
Mhm.
because the prolonged grief had become depression and severe depression and so on. And what I found at that point in in our initial conversation is that um, she had sought help 30
Mm.
years ago when her daughter passed from a coaching program for grief and went through the coaching program, and that experience with that coach was harmful,
Oh,
severely
really?
harmful. Yes, because the coach was not certified, but they had a really strong marketing program at that time.
Mm.
So, and she spent a decent amount of her finances investing in that grief program, recovering from grief program, and she didn't feel better.
Mhm.
She didn't heal, right? And whenever she reached out to more that coach again, the coaching program, they the response that she received is, "You already went through the program. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine."
Mhm.
And she was struggling for years until she just gave up reaching out to the coach, and she had a lot of shame and guilt
Mhm.
associated with not getting better,
Mhm.
not recovering, not mourning, not grieving her daughter, and continuing to keep her daughter with her. So, as a young counselor, that really shook me into looking into the coaching world.
Mhm.
And what I saw is it's heavily unregulated,
Mhm.
right? Anyone can call themselves a coach.
Mhm.
And if you have a good marketing team, you can really take advantage of people that are in need,
Yeah.
right? Without actually helping a lot of people. So this really hurt me. So at that point, I realized like I love counseling,
Mhm.
but I also need to be in the space of coaching. So people that need support, they can also find me.
Mhm.
So that was my journey into coaching. And as I got more and more into coaching, I saw the benefits of how coaching is not focused on the past, but also empowers for the future.
Mhm.
And this is where the counseling side of my background and the coaching practice really helps me gauge where the client is stuck, is struggling, and how I can move them from where they are to the next stages.
Mhm. Wow, that's a really powerful story, so thank you for sharing that.
It's hard to tell, but it is like a founding moment for me as I entered coaching.
Mhm. Mhm. So, in your experience, because you have the background for both, right? So, what would
Mhm.
you say then, like, I know what my thoughts are, but I
Mhm.
would like to hear it from you, like, the difference really between counseling and psychological practice versus coaching.
Right. Great question. Great question. And I think the it becomes a very difficult way of describing it because there's
Mhm.
so many definitions, and
Mhm.
coaches believe they can counsel.
Mhm.
Where again, I see if you are doing the ICF training and you're going through it, the training even says if it goes to the counseling side, please refer.
Yeah.
Right. Yet when I went through my program, I saw coaches trying to counsel.
Mhm.
Right. So the simplest definition that I found is if it has to deal with the past, right? Counselors are more equipped,
Mhm.
psychologists are more equipped with
Mhm.
that. If it
Mhm.
has to deal with the future, coaching programs are there to help understand the barriers and blocks and help the client
Mhm.
maneuver through them.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's
So that is the
yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly
Go
what
ahead.
I would have said to be the definition is that, like, counseling and psychological treatment is about, overcoming the past trauma, and coaching is
Mhm.
about, like, these are my goals, how am I gonna reach them?
See, I really appreciate that you said these are my goals and how will I reach them. Right. It is very tangible
Mhm.
in nature, where
Mhm.
counseling, right? If I'm working with someone that has anxiety that is future driven, right? But the
Mhm.
anxiety is a clinical diagnosis,
Mhm.
right? So it needs proper care
Mhm.
to find and help individuals going through that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
In the TikTok world, I was I was out to dinner 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago, and I was overhearing a conversation about, "Oh, I think I have ADHD. I have, OCD," and people are just going through the TikTok videos. It's like, "Oh, I have these,
Mhm.
so I must have, these diagnoses." And I
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah.
my partner was like, "Okay, calm down, calm down," because it's a pet peeve that we have access to so much information, right? But it can't be as trusted as going to a practitioner,
Uh-huh.
right, who specializes in it. But
Uh-huh.
so there's so much self-diagnosis happening right now.
Mhm.
And it irks me to see that. I like that you are saying that, but do consult with a mental health specialist
Mhm.
if you believe you have something like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it,
I can't even imagine. I'm not so much on TikTok, like, I have a TikTok just because, like,
Mhm.
you're supposed to, right? And but
Yeah,
I never go on there, right? Stuff
yeah,
so, like, I can't even imagine, like, getting my, like, mental health consultations from a TikTok video,
no, oh my
Like,
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like my generation, we're comfortable with Facebook. Facebook is
Yeah,
good enough.
yeah, like I said, although my cousin told me the other day I was talking about Facebook and she's my
Yeah.
age and she's like, "Who
Yeah.
has Facebook anymore?" I'm like, "I do." Shut
Yeah.
up.
That's right. Yes, please. We have our community.
Yeah, yeah. I go on my TikTok every once in a while just to see like what's happening over there. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I have no idea how to use this thing, Like, no.
I don't even bother,
I don't
honestly.
get it.
I stopped at Instagram. I'm like, you know what? That's a lot,
Mhm.
but at least I have my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my Instagram.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just like, okay, I have enough trouble trying to manage like those three, which are like my main
Yeah.
three, but I'm just like TikTok, or like Threads or Twitter, and I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't tweet, like I don't know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
so anyway, let's get back to the serious stuff.
Oh,
But anyway, no. So
yeah.
now, like in your history, you've gone like the counseling therapy route and then kind of
Mhm.
made the switch over to coaching. So would you say now, like, do you do a mix of like counseling, therapy, and coaching depending on what the client needs, or like, are you specializing
Yeah.
in one or the other?
A great question. So for me, I don't do counseling because you need to be licensed to
Mm,
practice counseling,
okay,
right?
okay, yeah.
So one thing that I do say to my clients where I'm seeing they their future goals, right, might be tied to past things.
Mm-hmm.
I do use my counseling techniques and knowledge
Mm-hmm.
to understand and unearth certain things that they need to be working on, and I have a good amount of counselors within my network
Mm-hmm.
because of my past. So
Mm-hmm.
I consult with them, and when when needed, I go ahead and refer
Mm-hmm.
out because I believe that I can I know that I have the skills to help somebody go into the counseling side,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to do the deep trauma work,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, because I know that I have been out of that world for a little bit longer,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
there are specialists for that.
Mhm. Mhm. So when you get somebody whose future goals are connected to some trauma that have happened in the past, like how do you
Mhm.
go about working with those clients where like they
Yeah.
have a vision for their future, they know where they want to go, but they're stuck
Mhm.
because of they're still like going through this trauma in the past, right? And the one thing that
Right.
I will just say as well is that I am like, I myself, like, I see a psychologist, I see her every 2
Mhm.
weeks, for dealing with my own trauma, and, like, one of the things that I'm also not so convinced all the time about
Mhm.
psychology and therapy is that every time you think about or like go over the scenarios, your brain doesn't
Right.
know the difference between what's happening now versus like something that you're imagining or remembering, right? And so then
Mhm.
it kind of puts your body in the same state and you're reliving that experience over and over and over again. And so
Yes.
there's a part of me that's like, how helpful is therapy in terms of me reaching my goals? So
Mhm.
I know that's a big question and there's a lot in there,
Yeah.
right? But like, how do you go about dealing with those kinds of clients?
Absolutely, absolutely. So for me, it really depends on the how recent the trauma is,
Mhm.
right? If it goes back to childhood, teenager childhood, then I more likely refer.
Mhm.
Largely because I know that there is core values, core mindset, uh, core things that were
Mhm.
established. Again, most of my clients are in their late 30s to 50s,
Mhm.
right? So if it's few decades previous, then I refer because there is there's multiple factors here. Self identity.
Mhm.
right? The coping skills, the re-triggering of trauma at a later age. And with my clients, they may have kids around the same age where they experience trauma. So
Mhm.
all these things, you really need to create a very robust and safe environment for a trained individual to go in and create a safe distance from recall.
Mhm.
So you can actually observe the trauma from a um, non-attached perspective
Mhm.
to uh, gain better understanding of how you how you had to evolve,
Mhm.
change to survive through that,
Mhm.
right? And trauma work can last months. It's
Mhm.
not a as easy as like, oh, yep, I have trauma and right. It really takes a lot of deep work
Mhm.
and creating a deep level of safety
Mhm.
to actually get there.
Mhm.
So this is where like there's there's a spectrum in my head, right?
Mhm.
If I believe the trauma is, let's say, from the 20s, in their 20s, right, more adult, so it's not as core to their selves,
Mhm.
right? Then um I can go in and say like, hey, can we talk about this? Create
Mhm.
that safety to start um, start tackling some of the challenges that that event.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
so I wanted to share that mainly because it really depends on your competencies,
Mhm.
right? And for me, it is more important that the core traumas be handled with specialists. It's
Yep.
like the easiest way to describe it is you go to a general practitioner, medicine,
Yep.
right, to get your regular medication. But if you have like cardiologists
Mhm.
for the heart stuff, right,
Mhm.
you don't just go to your generalist for the heart,
Yep.
right? And if you need a surgeon, you need to go to a specialist. So it's
Mhm.
really from that perspective I look at it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good way to go about it. Um, so I guess now, like, because we've kind of talked about like your journey and how you got into this and the
Yeah.
difference between counseling, psychology, therapy, and coaching. And so now you work specifically in a kind of, it seems like a very niche kind of coaching where you're coaching
Mhm.
people through burnout, job loss, things like that. So why don't you tell us a little
Right.
bit about first how you came to settle on this niche, and then like what are some of the things, the challenges that you work through with your clients in this area?
Absolutely. So let's start with burnout right now.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, recent research showed about 56% of mid management, mid career people have experienced burnout within the last year.
Mhm.
Right. And for many of the individuals out there, um, there are different levels of burnout.
Mhm.
And we often say we are burnt out when we're on, and I grade this into like 1 to 12,
Mhm.
where we're on like 8, 9, 10.
Mhm.
That's where we say, "Oh, I think we're burnt out."
Mhm.
Right? But burnout really starts all the way in the beginning of having self-doubt,
Mhm. Okay,
right? Imposter
interesting.
syndrome,
Yeah, that's interesting
right?
because so many people suffer from self-doubt and imposter syndrome, including myself. And
Yeah, me
I would
too.
certifiably say that I am burnt the fuck out. So so maybe we can make me a case study, but yeah, so
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, talk about the different levels.
Absolutely. I'm just pulling it up from my article. That way we can go through this journey together.
Mhm.
But again, I classified in three different clusters:
Mhm.
acute, right, which is more situational; moderate, where it becomes it hinders personal and relational work along with professional, and
Mhm.
then the severe where it's really daunting that it whatever is burning you out has become your identity, and
Mhm.
you're going through severe depression, right?
Become.
And oftentimes we think the the burnout really happens um we are in about stage uh, how I say like stage 5, 6,
Mhm.
which looks like isolation. You're canceling your plans. You're not doing what you used to do
Mhm.
just because you need to spend more time doing X,
Mhm.
right? We start isolating ourselves from our team, our group, our community,
Mhm.
and that really goes towards withdrawal from
Mhm.
society, and that could also look like um, self-medicating, shopping,
Mm.
over caffeine, you know, alcohol, um, anger, rage, and then we start getting feeling numb,
Mm.
right? The that's really the indicator from going from moderate to severe burnout. When
Mhm.
doesn't really matter, I don't feel anything anymore, right? We've gone through so much exhaustion
Mhm.
that once we've isolated ourselves, we've overworked, we are we're not as productive, right?
Mhm.
All these components added up to feeling numb, and then we start depersonalizing ourselves
Mhm.
and
So,
starting feeling empty. Yeah.
yeah, so let's like circle back a little bit because burnout is a word that like everybody uses, but I'm
Yes.
not always sure like does everybody understand exactly what it means.
Yeah.
So can you like and you've given some indication of the levels
Yeah.
and symptoms, but like what
Right.
exactly is burnout and how does it happen?
Great question. So, how does it happen is a harder question to answer. So,
Mhm.
let's start with what it is, right? It's
Mhm.
a uh, constant level of stress that you just feel like you can't escape from,
Mhm.
and it's been happening for at least 2 to 4 weeks,
Oh.
constantly, right? And it's not based on a project that's deadline is coming up, and you'll find relief after the project is finished,
Mhm.
right? And again, I'm speaking from a professional context here,
Mhm.
right? It is something that where you're dreading going into work, right?
Mm.
Because the anxiety kicks up, right? You're just drained thinking about work, but all you're doing is checking your phone about work. And so you're starting to get more attached. The doubts, like we mentioned,
Mhm.
imposter syndrome
Mhm.
just kicks kicks the volume up more and more,
Mhm.
saying you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not ready, and so on.
Mhm. Okay.
So it really is a place of sustained, continuous stress that just increases other symptoms like
Mhm.
imposter syndrome, right? Um, for a prolonged period of time. And
Mhm.
it's not situation based, like, for example, the project, which can be stress,
Mhm.
not burnout.
Mhm. Okay. So, a sustained level of stress, like what would be then I'm just thinking as soon as you said the word
Yeah.
stress, I thought cortisol, you know? And
Right.
so I'm wondering like do you have any information on like how the chemicals in our body like sustained levels of cortisol affect us on a day-to-day basis? Like I know for me
All right.
yeah, like I know for me like I feel like
Mhm.
I'm in a constant state of fight or flight, you know? And I feel like I'm really on edge and sometimes the
Yeah.
smallest things can like startle me because I'm so wound up that I'm
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, so what you're describing is almost like entering the moderate level of burnout,
mhm.
right? The acute stage looks like tension in your body,
Mhm.
right? Feels like feeling sluggish, you're eating
Mhm.
poorly,
Mhm.
right? Those are like early signs of
Mhm.
your stress, and or for example, like let's say you used to cook, meal prep, and things like that. It's like I don't have the energy, I don't have the time. So you're really just starting to get into the physical signs
Mhm.
of I'm weighed down, weighed
Mhm.
heavily, right?
Mhm.
That is the um I'm not talking about the chemical side because it's been a while since I've done that
Mhm.
chemical research, right? But it is a physical sign of like your body just feels fatigued, heavy,
Mhm.
weighed down, and your every movement is takes out more and more energy.
Mhm.
So what is comfortable looks like, you know what? I came home and I am just binging, I'm scrolling, I'm TikToking because we talked about TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for an endless amount or playing video games, whatever that is,
Mhm.
right? So what that looks like physically, mentally, that looks like impatience, right?
Mm.
Little things
Mhm.
just like I don't like it. I don't, right? The anger is brewing at that point,
Mhm.
right? Getting irritated quickly. Something minuscule is turning up the dial a little bit too much. It's like
Mhm.
an overreaction,
Mhm.
overcorrection,
Mhm.
right? All these things are the mental, emotionally. What's happening is that glimmer of hope, joy that we experience throughout the day, right? It starts to diminish. We're not seeing it as much, as often, as frequently, right? And
Mhm.
that joy starts to flicker.
Mhm.
And we're hoping like, I can't remember the last time laughed.
Mhm.
I smiled with that internal joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. So one of like I no longer work in corporate, but I used to be working
Mhm.
in corporate, and there was this one company that I worked for, and it was so draining on me. Like I was
Yeah.
constantly getting sick. First of all,
Ah,
like I was
yes.
just constantly getting sick. But also, I remember you talked about laughing. So like one time
Mhm.
I was in the file room, and I was like going through files or whatever looking for stuff. And then I guess like there was another woman back there, and we were like telling jokes or something like that, and we started
Mhm.
laughing at work, and then I got pulled into my supervisor's office and reprimanded for laughing in the
Wait,
office. So it's
no.
like, yes, laughing was banned
Oh,
at my workplace. So I was
oh
just
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, so it was just like
Toxic.
so draining to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like it was toxic.
It was. They used to time my bathroom breaks.
No.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
and I was a senior
Ah,
leader, and they're like
yeah.
timing my bathroom breaks. It was awful.
Wow.
It was
That is
horrible.
terrible.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
anyway, so you had mentioned a statistic here that, you know,
Mhm.
56% of the population is experiencing burnout. And so like to me that sounds like a severe epidemic, you know? And I think that kind of
Mhm.
correlates with the fact that there are so many people in this world who just like hate their jobs, you know? And that's like
Yes.
one of the reasons why I'm doing the work that I'm doing is because I
Mhm.
really want to inspire people to realize that
Yeah.
like there are other ways to live your life out there. I mean, and
Yes.
it doesn't always mean quitting your job, but maybe it means
Yeah.
finding a new one or like moving
Right.
into a department that's better suited to your needs or things like
Yes.
that, right? And so tell me about like how do you think we got to the place where the majority of people are in a situation that they hate their jobs and are burning out?
Great question. I want to put an asterisk to a couple of the comments. Um, I don't know if this is worldwide,
Uh-huh.
right? I can speak for the U.S. market,
Yeah.
maybe even some of the Western. like
Yeah, like, Canada, I
markets.
think, is probably very
Okay.
similar, so
Okay.
yeah.
Um, and I wanted to clarify that because uh, when I am overseas and I see people with community, work is just to pay the bills,
Mhm,
right? In the US, what I see is when you say, "Oh, I've met a stranger," and when you say, "Tell me about yourself," the first thing that comes into mind is like, "Oh, I'm a coach. I'm a lawyer. I'm a,"
mhm,
right? It's the primary identity becomes what we do,
mhm,
right? And when I am overseas and I'm talking with individuals, the primary identity is, "Oh, I'm a dad, right? I'm a
mhm,
mom.
mhm,
I'm a sister." Like the work is probably the third identity that comes up,
mhm,
right? Okay, so what do you do for work? Yeah, this it it pays the bills and I'm good,
mhm,
right? It's good enough. So the reason I wanted to differentiate that is because I think here in the US, our work identity takes up so much of our time and energy. Just
mhm,
thinking from that perspective, or even our perspective, we're spending at least 10 hours thinking on work in a
mhm,
given day. That's to roughly right 50%
mhm,
of our day
yeah,
thinking about work,
mhm.
commuting to work, right?
Well, and I think the other thing is
Yeah,
that there's no separation anymore,
yeah,
So, like
yeah.
now, let's say you're getting paid for, the 8 or 10 hours or whatever that you're there, but there's an
Mhm.
expectation that now because you have access to this, that I, as your
Right.
boss, should be able to call on you whenever and
Yes.
wherever. And sometimes I read these stories like, no wonder
Yeah.
people are burnt out because their boss is
Yeah.
messaging them at like midnight and saying like, "Hey, this needs to be
Yes.
done for tomorrow." And it's like, "Excuse me?"
Absolutely. 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 And this is something that you just brought in is the boundaries of work and life is so blurred,
Mhm.
and we invited that
Mhm.
because we said work is important for the past, I'll speak for US decades, like since the 70s,
Mhm.
right? We kept saying work, 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 work.
Mhm.
And over since COVID, that shifted a little bit. That really shook people up
Mhm.
during COVID, where it's like, oh my gosh, we had massive layoffs around the world,
Mhm.
right? That really shook people up to like, oh, I'm replaceable at work,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of things are happening in this moment over the past 6 years that we're seeing like a lot of people have been miserable for years at their job before making a change or maybe even questioning, should I even think about a change,
Mhm.
right? Because our blinders are on.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I would say,
Mhm,
and I mean, I'm maybe making some broad stroke assumptions, but in the US and, in Canada to a certain extent,
mhm.
Canada has better, like in terms of like maternity leave and things like that. But in the US, like I'm not even sure, are you guys entitled to 2 weeks vacation down there?
And not by federal law.
Yeah. So in Canada, you are like entitled to 2 weeks
Mhm.
vacation per year, right? But then if you
Right.
go over to Europe, for example, like also westernized, but they have a way better
Yes.
work-life balance. Like I think in France, the mandatory is
Yes.
6 weeks of vacation. And so,
Yes.
and I mean, like I think Germany is 4 weeks vacation. They're a little
Mhm,
bit more, they're a little bit more like economically focused, I think, in general in
mhm.
Germany, right? But there are countries out there. And then, like, if you go to Italy or Spain, like taking a 2 hour lunch is the norm,
Right.
So it's like
Yes.
you take the 2 hour lunch, you have your siesta or whatever it is, like in the middle of the
Right.
day, and then
Yeah.
maybe you're working a little bit later, but then you also have these like long drawn out dinners with family and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
And so it's just like there's more general acceptance of, living life versus like you just have to work and then, you can have your life is like maybe if you get 2 weeks off, if you're lucky enough, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I
And if
think,
you can actually take those 2 weeks off.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, and like
Yeah.
one of the other things that I think is super stressful is like when you have to go to your employer and ask them for permission. And that was also one of the reasons why I didn't work so well in corporate because I'm like, who are you to tell me when I can go somewhere?
Right.
Like,
It's true, it's true, and you bring up so many great points here, right?
mhm,
Europe, um, they even have you can hire, from their insurance, right? You can hire coaches.
mhm,
Burnout is a thing actually you can take time off for,
mhm.
right? And seek assistance in helping people,
Yeah.
right? In US, and now I'm learning about Canada more, right? In US, no, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You only have one job. That means you have time to do more,
Yeah, exactly, and it's
right?
like they try to bleed you dry, you know?
Yes.
And then as soon as you're, like, underperforming or whatever because maybe you're
Right.
burnt out, and then
Mhm.
they'll just, like, replace you, which is like, we saw that a lot during COVID, I think, so
We absolutely,
and
and we're
now with
seeing that
AI,
still.
right? So
Right. Right. We're seeing that still, and one of the key
mhm,
components is that it's really easy for us to blame they, the
mhm,
external,
yeah,
right? But we've also helped create this reality
mhm,
as individuals, right?
mhm,
Because initially, when we got our tech in our hand, right? The phone, right?
mhm,
Oh, great. Just text me, message me, whenever, whatever, right? We
mhm,
gave permission to break that boundary,
mhm,
right? And then we continue to reinforce it by replying within that,
mhm,
right? So we have to take ownership of how we got to here
mhm. Well,
because it
and
was an exchange.
it was an exchange, and that was something like in one of my last jobs that I had,
Mhm.
my boss did start texting me like in the not in the middle of the night, but like in the evenings,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
like at first I was responding because I was like,
yes.
okay, like you feel like you have to, you're kind of compelled
Yeah,
that you have to, but after a while
absolutely.
I stopped responding because I'm like, you know what, I'm training him that this is
Mhm.
okay and this is not
Right.
okay, So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that
Like, I love that you gave that example because it was so true to me when I was really fighting through my imposter syndrome
uh-huh,
as I was growing into the corporate world,
uh-huh,
where like, yeah, message me whenever you want. I'll be right on there.
mhm,
And it was until like probably 3, 4 years in, like I can't keep sustaining this.
mhm,
So I had to have like a direct conversation with my superiors. I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna try something new for the next week. All right. And if this works for me, then we're going to keep going for the week
mhm,
after. And that
mhm,
was after 5:30, I will not be looking at my phone.
mhm.
So even if you message, please wait until 10 a.m. to
Yeah,
get a response from me.
yeah,
If
yeah,
it's urgent, you need to tell me before 4 p.m. the day
mhm,
before, or else it's not right. It
yeah,
was so difficult to say that.
yeah.
So difficult to say that. As soon as I did, the behavior changed almost immediately.
And see, that's amazing, right? Because I think for a lot of people, and maybe you can tell us about your experience, like there was a lot of fear going into that conversation.
Absolutely.
Because now
Yes.
you're afraid about losing your job, right?
Right. We're also confrontation avoidant,
Mhm.
right? Confronting something, something we believe in, it creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of
Mhm.
fear,
Mhm.
right? And this is where I really want to shape the conversation differently. That confrontation is good.
Mhm.
How you confront, that's an art,
Yeah, it's the how,
right?
because
Mhm.
having a conversation like that, like I wouldn't even
Yeah.
necessarily say that that's confrontation. It's just like, hey, this is a conversation, not necessarily
Right.
confrontation, right? So you're not
Yes.
going in there and saying, "Hey, boss, like fuck you, and I didn't sign up for this or whatever," right? Like you went in
Yeah.
there calmly and you said, "Hey, I'm gonna try
Right.
something, and if it works for me,
Exactly.
this is how we're gonna move forward."
I really love that example because confrontation and conversation is the same thing. It's just what is the emotional baggage we're
Mhm.
bringing in into that
Mhm.
moment,
Mhm.
right? If it's with that frustration and anger, that is confrontation. And a lot of people, when we are trying to reset and set boundaries,
Mhm.
we have that fear, the
Mhm.
emotional side that makes it look and feel like a confrontation,
Mhm.
right? Where I love it because I say that means there's something that you care about in this conversation,
Mhm.
right? And can you recognize that a core value has been breached, and now you have to stand up for your core values and your boundaries
Mhm.
because that is important to you.
Mhm.
Your boss, your organization may not have that core value,
Mhm.
right? Or may not even know that's a core value of yours,
Mhm.
right? This is where I I go on the side of we also have to take responsibility because we haven't really trained our teams, our organization to say like, right, this is the boundary you do not cross,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? With the advancement of technology and access, it's really allowed us to allowed the organizations to take more advantage of our time.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's something that I struggle with, like, not even just I mean, like, I'm running my own business now, right? So, like, it's not so much about, like, access from my boss or whatever, but sometimes
Mhm.
I even realize, like, just because I have this on me, does not
Yes.
mean that you are entitled to my time just because you sent
Correct.
me a text message, like, regardless of
Yes.
who you are. And my rule of thumb, it's hard
Yeah.
to implement, right? Because I also
Mhm.
believe like in respectful communication, right? So if you're
Yeah.
somebody that I am working with or that I have a
Mhm.
relationship with, like I'm not just going to like leave you on red for like days at a time or something, right? Because I
Right.
also believe in mutual respect. But like
Absolutely.
sometimes people message me and it's just like I don't have the capacity to deal with this right now.
Mhm.
So unless your name is mom, like you're not
Yeah.
getting a call back from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is where like I want to take it globally a little bit because globally that has been a precedent,
Mhm.
right? My family gets time from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are, right?
Mhm.
And if they call me middle of the day, they're gonna get priority number one,
Mhm.
and then I'll come back to work,
Yeah.
right? I see this in different regions of the world, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that makes more sense because people are happier in those situations, right? They're also less burnt out because they realize, and we did this during COVID as well. We reshifted our priorities to say family and friends,
Mhm.
right? Community
Mhm.
is more important
Mhm.
than productivity.
Well, and I think the interesting thing about COVID as well, though, was because everybody was working from home. So then it became
Yeah.
even harder to implement boundaries because you're just working from home. So it's like, oh, like now I put the
Yeah.
kids to bed, like I can go back and try to, like figure
Right.
out some other emails or whatever, right?
Yes.
Whatever it is, right?
Yes.
And so then the boundaries became even more blurred during COVID to a certain
Yes.
extent.
It's true. It's true. There is that
Mm-hmm.
double-edged sword, right? One thing that I have never enjoyed is the 9 to 5 work schedule,
Mm. No, it doesn't make
right?
sense, because like
It
people
doesn't.
have things to do during the day. So like
Right.
the one thing, and again, I think
Yeah.
leading to stress, like when I
Mhm.
was working at the same corporation, right? So like
Right.
for me to schedule a dentist appointment, I would have to go specifically during my lunchtime, which I was only allowed to take between 12 and 1 o'clock. I was not allowed to take it like whenever I wanted. I I was only
No.
allowed to take it between, and I was a senior executive at this company, and this was still the expectation. I had to
Yeah.
take it, and so my dentist's office is downtown, so then I would have to go to my dentist's office all the way downtown, get my cleaning, and come back, and if
Yeah.
I was, like, ten,
All
15
within an
minutes
hour.
yeah, if I was 10, 15 minutes late, I would get reprimanded for it.
My gosh.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So, like, it's so, so
Yeah.
stressful to be in that environment where you
Yep.
can't do things and you have to, like, ask
Right?
permission to go to the dentist, you know? I was like,
Yes.
it's ridiculous.
No, it absolutely is, and there's so much of it these days,
Mhm.
right? Of permission seeking and
Yeah.
improving,
Yeah.
right? That helicopter management.
Well,
Or
yeah, and you're not treating your employees like grown adults, you know? And
no.
so it's like if you're treating your employees like children, you know, you that means you probably don't trust them and you shouldn't be hiring people that you don't trust anyway. Like you should be
Um,
cultivating an environment of trust and like I trust
y
you to get this work done. Like I don't care when you do it, just do it.
yes, and I will challenge you here. Not really
Okay.
challenge, validate, uh,
Mhm.
right? Uh, I would say they don't have trust in themselves.
Probably, you know, because it
Therefore,
could
you
be
it's really hard to
projection.
trust others.
Yeah, and so if
Absolutely.
you know that you would do these things, you're probably gonna assume that everybody else would do these things, and so then you have
Yeah.
to put on your asshole manager hat.
Yeah, it's yes, like, whenever I talk to individuals that are going through, um, leadership training, right?
Mhm,
I say, "How much do you trust yourself?"
mhm,
Right? That is, like, one of my base questions. It's like, "I trust myself." Okay. So, can you give that same level of trust to the person that you're working with?
mhm,
No. Okay. So, you are measured your self-trust is measured self-trust and confidence really is measured by how much you're willing able to give,
mhm,
right? And then we build a program based on that,
mhm,
because once we start trusting ourselves and having that confidence
mhm,
that I will figure it out, my team will figure it out,
mhm,
then we are building psychological safety in the
mhm,
team, in the individual. But it really starts with the person first, having that confidence to say,
mhm,
you know what? I need to work on building my trust and building the trust with my team
mhm,
rather than just making assumptions of things that are rolling through my head and hoping like people read my mind and figure it out.
mhm,
Oftentimes, it's really about the basics that we forget. And this is where burnout comes in. This is where toxic management comes in. This is where so many things brew is in our mind
mhm,
because we are afraid to say, even a leader, even an exec is afraid to say, I don't know,
mhm,
right? It's afraid to say, like, if I say I don't know, I'm probably not going to have this role,
mhm,
right? I might lose my job. I might lose respect. I might lose XYZ.
mhm,
So let me go ahead and put up a front, a facade, right, that projects a certain way,
mhm,
and then things will start happening.
mhm,
What we actually find is that facade is built from a covering, how do I say this? Insecurities
mhm,
that hasn't been addressed and should be addressed. And this is where I really taken my counseling side and my coaching side to build this.
mhm. I think that also
Um,
leads back into
yeah,
the imposter syndrome.
absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely. Because we're oftentimes figuring it out, but without telling people and without um, creating that community to what we mentioned. Like, if you want to go far, go together,
mhm,
right? It's so much strength in saying, I need help.
mhm,
I don't know how to get to where I want to go,
mhm,
right? But oftentimes we think, oh, I got to do this all by myself
mhm.
because I did all this by myself. We often forget the community that really supported us are the foundations. And this is where so many of the burnout, the layoff, the um, lack of what is it? The emotional intelligence,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
The vacation times, the trust, the respect, right? All this bruise from really a small thing that just kept growing and growing and growing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this is what I keep seeing no matter what level I'm working with.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a couple of just a few things that I
Yeah.
wanted to wrap up before we move on because now we've talked about burnout, but I also want to talk
Mhm.
about like how do we heal from burnout, right? Because that's the next
Yes.
step, right? But
Yes.
before we get there, I wanted to talk about like burnout and setting boundaries around like there's a difference between when you're paid hourly versus
Mhm.
being paid salary. And, we talked
Yes.
about like the boundaries of the expectations. And so a lot of the time when you're getting paid salary,
Mhm.
that can cause even more stress because the expectation is that you put in the extra hours and it's like I'm just going to
Right.
work for like 12 hours a day because you're paying me this much money
Yeah.
and then your bonus is also kind of contingent upon like if you're set up for a bonus structure your bonus is contingent
Right.
upon how much like extra work you do, right? And so then there
Mhm.
also becomes the stress about like if you really only work your 9 to 5 and like afterwards you're not working at all. And then all of a sudden you're seen as being like less than or like not putting in the time and the effort. And then,
Right.
like not getting those bonuses, right? So how do you deal
Yeah.
with that as well?
So if I'm understanding the question correctly, how do you deal with it if you're a hourly employee versus a salaried employee,
Mm-hmm.
right? And reinforcing those boundaries.
Yeah.
I think it really goes towards the imposter thoughts that
Mm-hmm.
you're having,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is it about um, what is it about? Do you have to be available if you're 9 to 5 and you're hourly? Do you show up at like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock? So you're seen like, oh, they're working, beyond or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that looks
Mm-hmm.
like. The hourly individual is oftentimes has more power
Mm-hmm.
because it is legally binding that company is allocating 9 to 5 for this individual,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, I'm saying legally, I am not a lawyer, so please consult with your, disclaimer,
None
disclaimer,
of us are
right?
lawyers or doctors. Disclaimer.
Right. So there is often legal protection for them,
Mhm.
right? So within that, figuring out why are you feeling burnt out? Is it the schedule? Is it the person? Because it could be a toxic boss. It could be a toxic work environment that's really making you uh, feel burnt out. It could be the tasks,
Mhm.
right? What is asked of you with resource allocation,
Mhm.
right? Or is it you that you're like, you know what? I'm an artist and I don't really like this.
Mhm.
So there's many factors that a hourly individual really needs to figure out before they can identify how do I get better from here.
Mhm.
But knowing like foundationally, there may be legal protection of you not working extra hours.
Mhm.
So that's something like how do I say this? Um, that's something that you need to figure the hourly individual needs to figure out because there's so many different other factors that come into play. Like, is
Mhm.
it your own internal system saying like, I really need to give more?
Mhm.
Is it external bosses are saying this?
Mhm.
Um, so I can't give a clear answer to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now that we've talked about like when you're in it and you're burning out, how do we go about not being burnt out? Because again, when you only have, let's say, 2 weeks of vacation a year, if you're lucky,
right,
Like, and then a lot of the time, even when you're on vacation, you might be checking your emails. You might be feeling
yeah,
stressed out about not working and like, oh, I still have
yeah.
to prove that I'm working and all these things, right? So how do we actually go about healing and recovering from burnout?
Great question. I think the first thing is recognizing which part of burnout you're in. If
Mhm.
you're in the acute stage, right, it's the recovery is gonna be faster.
Mhm.
But if you continue delaying it, saying, "I'll worry about this tomorrow," until
Mhm.
you're in the moderate or severe,
Mhm.
the recovery is going to be longer.
Mhm.
Like, for example, like recovery from moderate can take up to 6 months.
Mhm.
Moderate burnout, right? Severe, it can take up to 2 years,
Mhm.
right? Acute, within 3 months, you can really find a way to adjust quickly,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Um, my, I think one of my episodes was the what is it? If you're living for TGIF, are you familiar with TGIF? Thank
Yeah.
goodness it's
Yeah,
Friday,
yeah, yeah.
right? You're probably in starting to feel burnout,
Mhm.
right? Or the Sunday scaries. It's like, oh goodness, I need to figure out what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
recognizing what your on ramp and off ramps are
Mhm.
to burnout. All right. Take a break. Take extended weekends.
Mhm.
Even extended weekends can help mitigate some of that experiences. Um, we've talked a lot about setting boundaries,
Mhm.
right? Again, these are some things that you need to start doing, but personally, take time off, practice self care.
Mhm.
We think self care is, oh, I went and got my hair done, or um, watched a movie, or binged on Netflix, right? These are draining activities sometimes.
Mhm.
So you need to find self care things that actually energize. In
Mhm.
a couple of things that has improved is a phone call with somebody that you haven't connected with,
Mhm.
right? Energizing activities often surround us with people.
Mhm.
Again, that's one person.
Mhm.
If you're more introverted, right? That's a 8-minute conversation can do tremendous for your mental health.
Mhm.
Um, of course, like sleeping 8 hours, nutrition, finding a more balanced meal, right?
Mhm.
Seeking, of course, I'm gonna say this, right? Seeking professional help,
Yeah.
right? Talk to a coach, talk to a counselor, talk to someone that is going through it. One of the key component of um, moderate to severe burnout is isolation. We believe that we are the only person that is experiencing burnout,
Mhm.
right? When this statistics is about 56% of the population is experiencing burnout. So 1 out of 2 people, right, is going through burnout. So
Mhm.
give your burnout a voice,
Mhm.
because when we don't say it that we're stressed, no one knows it.
Yeah. And I think
Right? We're really good at covering ourselves.
yeah, and I think, also, like, being okay, like, admitting that you're stressed, because I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of stigma associated with burnout, like, "Oh, like, she couldn't handle it, he couldn't handle it," kinda
Yes.
thing, like,
Yes.
and, there's a lot of stigma and shame around it as well, so it's also
There
important to
is.
speak up about it that, like, if
Yeah.
over half the population is dealing with this, it's not something that we
Yeah.
should be ashamed of, you know?
Yes. Yes. But if you are feeling shame and guilt, right, talk to a professional because that's probably deeper rooted
Mhm.
than what's actually happening.
Mhm.
Right. Um,
Mhm.
and this is where like if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, there's deeper roots to it
Mhm.
that working with a counselor is going to help you uncover.
Mhm.
Right. For me, like the name of my business is Balance at Last is because one of my first clients, she yelped it so loud. It's like I finally have everything figured out.
Yeah.
Feeling balanced at last. I was like, oh, wow, that is the impact of unburdening ourselves
Mhm.
from our past,
Mhm.
right? And also seeing clarity into our future,
Mhm.
right? And the steps to getting there and steps to healing,
Yeah.
right? Um, I do want to mention that if you don't have a hobby, get a hobby.
Mm.
Get a hobby because I stopped asking, what do you do? And I started asking, what do you do as a hobby?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people are programmed to say, like, oh, what do I do? You mean for a living? No, I don't care about that anymore.
Mhm.
Right. We'll probably get to it at some other point, but what do you do for fun? What do you do? What are you doing when you're not
Mhm.
doing anything?
Mhm. I
Because
think
this invites permission.
yeah, that's an interesting one. We don't really have time to go into it now, but that's an interesting one because my hobby
Mhm.
turned into my
Yeah.
profession. And so
Yeah.
now it's like so now I'm traveling as an international DJ, right? Like so I started with
Yes.
dancing, then I became a professional dancer and
Mhm.
performer, and now I'm a professional DJ. And
Oh
so
my
like
God.
the interesting thing is that like even though I love it, like I
Mhm.
fucking love DJing, you know?
Yeah.
But because it's so intense, I'll go through these
Hmm.
like really intensive bursts. And then when I come
Yeah.
home, and working odd hours, not eating properly, like not sleeping
Yeah.
properly, all the stuff that goes with it. And then when I get home, I'm burnt out. So I always say, like, however long I'm away for, so if I'm gone
Hmm.
for a month, it takes me two
Right.
weeks to recover. So
Yeah.
it's also you have to make sure though that your hobbies don't turn into something this is just based on my own experience, but your
Yeah.
hobbies don't turn into something that can also contribute to your burnout.
Absolutely, really well said. Because hobbies become a passion projects. Passion
Mm,
projects becomes a mission. Mission becomes something for the community, right?
mhm. Mhm.
And it can become so much more.
Mhm.
It really, when I say hobby, I look at it from uh, four different perspectives, right? One, what is it doing for your mental health,
Mhm.
right? Do you have a mental health hobby? Do you have a physical health hobby? Do you have a financial health hobby?
Mhm.
Right? Do you have a relational health hobby?
Mhm.
Right? If you can have four of those, right, then different parts of what makes us who we are starts to feel more at balance.
Mhm.
Some people will go into one hobby and say, this is it.
Yeah.
But then other parts of us feel gets neglected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So trying to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
So usually having like two hobbies is, for me, what I've seen is best. So
Mhm.
for me, it's writing and golf right now,
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
right? One is really introspective. The other is exploratory and, physical.
Yeah, yeah. I really like that, because like in for me and in my
Mhm.
experience was that like I went all in on dance, and the thing
Yeah.
the thing for me was I find it so interesting, right? So classic burnout signs that I'm learning now, after
Mhm.
this conversation, coming home, needing complete space, like don't talk to me for like an hour,
Yeah.
after I get home and
Gen
then really, really like struggling though. Like there were so many times where it's just like, I do not want to go to dance class today. I do not want to go, but I was
Mhm.
on a team and I had a commitment and all of this stuff, right? And
Yes.
did not want to go. But then as soon as I went, and I finished the class, I felt so much better, So
Yeah.
even as my body was telling me, like, you don't want to go, you just want to sit here on the
Mhm.
couch and do nothing. And then I was like, okay, I know that if I go, I'm going to feel better. And it became like a medicine,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It like exercise apps always is a medicine,
Yeah.
right? 45 minutes, it has almost similar impact as a antidepressant,
Yeah. Because it
right?
gets all the
One
good hormones going,
It
right?
does.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it does, because our body has not been and have not been designed to be stoic,
hmm
right?
Well, and
evolutionary
sitting all
perspective.
day, right? Like, there's so many of
Right.
us who are just sitting all day, and what do they say? Sitting's the
Yes.
new smoking or the next smoking, right? And
Exactly.
so
It is.
yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
Just moving our body for 45 minutes a day
Mhm.
is it can do so much good
Well,
for
and the other thing,
us.
in terms of combating burnout as well, like
Mhm.
we get this in our head in the workplace that we look, I'm sitting forward. I'm so like excited about
I
this.
love it. I love
Where
it.
like we're getting we're told like you have to sit at your desk, and if you're not at your desk, like this was another thing. Same company.
Yes.
If I wasn't at my desk,
Oh,
my office was right next door to my boss's office, and if
right.
I wasn't at my desk, like, for example, the time that I was in the file room laughing and I got in
Oh,
trouble, he
no.
also just thought that I had, like, fucked off from work that day because I wasn't sitting at my desk and he couldn't keep tabs on me. And so it was, like, the ability to get up from your desk
Oh,
and move your
yeah.
body and, like, go for a 10-minute walk, like, go outside and get some sun
Right.
in your eyes, like,
Yes.
stretch your body, move your body, and the
Yes.
idea that we have to be sitting at our desks for, like, literally 8 hours at a time, like, by the
Right.
time and what do they say? Statistically speaking, you're only really productive for, like, 2 hours a day anyway, so, like, the other 6 hours that you're there, you're not getting any work done anyway.
You're not. You're not. You're not. That could be a different episode because the 2 hour thing is the ultradian cycle,
Yeah.
which I love to hack into.
Oh, we should
So
definitely go.
another
I
episode.
feel like we could keep talking about this forever. I'm so passionate about it. Like, I want
Yeah.
everybody to be living lives that they love, and I want everybody to
Yes.
love the work that they're doing. And so I'm super
Yeah.
passionate about this topic, but we are
Oh my
at
gosh.
time.
Okay.
So,
Samantha, we will probably in a different conversation talk about
yes,
toxic work environments because I
yes.
think we
Yeah,
can
there's
share
so
a
much
lot of
there.
stories.
There's so much there. So
Yeah.
anyway, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and your energy. I really appreciate it. What is the best place for people to find you online?
Great question. My website, balanced@last.com
Okay.
or at balanced at last for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
hopefully that'll be in the show notes. If
Yes,
not,
it'll be in the
comment.
show notes. So
Great.
we will have those links there for everybody. So thank you
Yeah.
so much again. This was truly amazing. So, and I hope to see you again
Yep.
soon.
You too. Bye,
Okay,
Samantha.
bye.
DJ Savvy.